UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Hernandez takes place Saturday, February 21st, 2026, going down in Houston, Texas. And I am here to break down the entire fight. I said fart. Oh, I said fart. And I am here to break down the entire fight card. And I'm here to break down the entire fight card, starting with the early prelims and ending with the main event, giving my predictions for every single fight here. We look to continue a good streak of predictions so far. For the entirety of 2026 across 3 cards, I am 14-1 in predictions on the main card. The one just being Jaitan Almeida not being able to get the job done against Riz Vankuniev, so he was fired for that. So that's cool. Shouldn't have problems no more. But man, these are some tough picks. I definitely struggle to really have confidence in a lot of these picks, but I think I've narrowed down to there's still some good ones here. There's a lot of interesting performances I'm going to be watching out for this card. There's a lot of guys that are some guys I want to try to see where their level's at. A lot of level defining on this card where, if this guy's really a good fighter, if this guy's not, some guys that are falling off, seeing how hard they fall, seeing guys on the come up, seeing how high they can go, so it's a very good fight card. I'm very excited to watch this tomorrow, but for right now, let's go through the predictions. Also, yes, I am in the corner of the video now. I've got a new setup. I'm trying something different here, so we'll see if this really works out and looks as good as I think it does. But I think it will. I think we'll work for this for right now. Anyway, let's get into this card, man. We shall start in the prelims with Carly Judice versus Juliana Miller. Not much to say about this fight here. I think Juliana Miller is not... I'm sorry, I was reading it wrong. I think Carly Judice is a very good fighter. She's a very good striker, and I think she looks good in her last few fights, so I'm going to back her to win this. Probably by decision, but she could maybe get a KO TKO here. I could see that, honestly, but she's a very good fighter. I'm looking for her to win over Juliana Miller. Up next is Jordan Leavitt versus Yadier de Valle. Of course, Jordan Leavitt's coming down from the lightweight and is now going to be fighting at featherweight. But he's going up against a pretty decent prospect in Yadier de Valle here. He has some very good grappling. Leavitt has some pretty bad striking, and he's at a speed and athleticism disadvantage. But he is a pretty good grappler, but he also loses by submission a lot. So I think if you're a really locked-in grappler, you should be able to have no problems with Jordan Leavitt. Leavitt may also have the size advantage, but I don't think it's a lot, especially for a guy that's coming down a weight class. So for those reasons, I'm going to back Yadier de Valle to win this fight. I think he'll do pretty well here against Leavitt. I think he'll do a better job out-grappling Leavitt and maybe getting the finish. I don't know, but I have a lot of faith in Yadier de Valle to get this fight win. Up next is a very exciting one I'm looking forward to is Jean-Paul I always struggle with this name. Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani versus Phil Rowe. This is a very good matchup, I think. Phil Rowe is always a great guide for determining the skills of their opponents. Obviously, if you watched my Contender Series video many months ago, Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani was the guy I backed at welterweight to do the best out of that entire class. So, of course, I have to go with him, dude. I have to. Rowe can be just inconsistent at times. I think Jean-Paul has a lot of momentum right now. And despite the size and reach advantage, he does fight pretty well at welterweight. And also, Rowe doesn't really fight well against some smaller guys. He does have some trouble against that. We've seen that a few times in his fights. And also, his grappling is a bit of a weakness, and as well as Jean-Paul having such a solid grappling game himself. So for those reasons, I'm going to back Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani to win this fight. I think he'll do pretty well here. I'm excited to see him get this win if he can really hang with guys like the Phil Rowe. This is a really defining fight for him. So I'm excited to see him finally get his make his debut in the UFC. Up next, Ramiz Brahimaj versus Punahele Soriano. These are 2 guys, that have been in the UFC for a minute, never really been able to put a lot together, but these last few fights have been able to string wins together. They've just been stringing wins together, looking really good, and now these guys are going to get a chance to fight each other. This is kind of a tough one, dude. It's obviously, Brahimaj is the favorite. I'm going to go with Brahimaj, right? I think Soriano will have a physicality advantage, but I think he's kind of slower and gasses out more easily than Brahimaj. Brahimaj himself can ride out a bad round, and he's also pretty good at out-scrambling and potentially getting submissions, which I think he has a good chance of doing here against Soriano. The reason I'm kind of iffy on, like, you know, Brahimaj really getting it done, because I don't know how much of, like, he's had the way easier win streak compared to Soriano. Soriano has a wins over Uros Medic, who is in the co-main event this card, and Brahimaj hasn't really fought people of that caliber yet, so... Well, or he hasn't beaten people of that caliber in the streak he's on right now, so I'm kind of worried about that for him, that it's kind of like just kind of faking me out, but I'm still going to go with Brahimaj to win this fight. I think he'll be able to get it done. I think he just has the better grappling game, and he'll be able to potentially get a submission over Soriano, so I'm going to back up Brahimaj to win this. Up next, we have Nora Cornolle versus Jocelyn Edwards. Yeah, this is Jocelyn Edwards all the way, man. There's not much to say about here. I think Edwards has momentum. She's the younger fighter. Will probably win this fight, and I just don't see Cornolle being as consistent as Edwards is. And I know, right? Like, their last fight, Cornolle did win, but I just think Jocelyn Edwards has just made so much more improvements to her game, where Cornolle just kind of stayed at like an inconsistent level since they've last fought. So I'm gonna back up Jocelyn Edwards to get the victory in the rematch. Very exciting rematch here. I'm looking forward to this one, bro. Definitely. This is the fight to watch, guys. This is the fight to watch. Up next, Alden Coria versus Louis Gurule. This is kind of a tough one, man. I'm gonna go with Coria to win this fight. I think he has the reach advantage, which I think will play a part in this. And I don't really rate Gurule's performances so far in the UFC. I think, he's had some good opponents, I will say that, and he has had moments of brillianceness, but I just think Coria has looked better. He has the better resume, and I think he kind of has the style to really piece up at range, start to get combinations in as the fight goes on, just overall look better throughout the fight than Gurule, which I think the judges will kind of be looking for throughout. So I'm going to go with Alden Coria to win this fight. I like his chances, I really do. I think he's a very good fighter. I'm excited to see how he does going forward. He's not like, he just has a good resume, like I said. Up next, Ode Osbourne versus Alibi Idiris. This is an interesting matchup, man. I'm kind of surprised that Idiris is the favorite. I think it's just because Ode Osbourne is just such a weird guy to try to figure out. And that includes with my pick too here, man. I'm gonna go with Ode Osbourne to win this. I think, Idiris can be pretty unorthodox to a detriment for him. He has a good grappling game that he doesn't often utilize. He didn't utilize in his Joseph Morales fight. Osbourne is the taller, more solid defensive grappler. And I think I could just see him being a bit more quicker, throwing good counter punches, while Idiris just kind of stands trying to strike with him and just ends up being less accurate with his striking. So I think Osbourne will do better at getting damage off in the striking exchanges. And then I think, he can defend any grappling, like any takedown attempts that Idiris tries to throw at him. So I don't think this fight's going to go to the ground. I think Ode Osbourne will be able to control the pace of this fight for a lot of it. It's weird though, man. Like, I don't fucking rate this guy, man. Like, Osbourne is, again, he's just weird, bro. Like, I don't... No, I'm going to go Osbourne. Osbourne is going to win this. Osbourne will win this, I think. I'm gonna lock in Ode Osbourne to win. Final fight on the prelims, the feature prelim bout. Chidi Bangbin Njokuani versus Carlos the Lion Leal. Look at this fucking picture of him, bro. Holy shit. This guy looks nuts. I'm gonna go with Chidi Njokuani to win this. I'm kind of surprised at the underdog. Another close fight. I just see Njokuani being able to do a good job controlling the pace. Leal is pretty limited with his footwork. He doesn't like to jab or throw too many body strikes. He just likes to kind of keep his hands down and headhunt for the entirety of a fight. I think Njokuani has the size and reach. I don't think he does have the size and reach advantage, which I think will play a big factor into this. But he is chinny, so I don't see a reason for Carlos Leal to kind of change up his game plan from what he normally does. I think That's going to kind of throw him off a little bit, which I think, yeah, it's to a detriment that I don't think Leal's going to really try to change up his game plan because, you know, Njokuani will just be there jabbing, he'll be throwing front kicks, he'll be clinching up, and then he'll be landing really good close-up shots while, like, in and out of the pocket, you know, so... For those reasons, I'm going to go with Chidi and Njokuani. Like, I could see just Leal being able to just... Because Leal's just going to be going for, like, a finish, right? That's how he's going to win this fight. So he needs to try to find a way to catch Njokuani at a moment of, like... You know, when he's, like, circling or something, just be able to catch him with an overextension of his, like a right hook or something. That's the way I see Leal winning this. I don't think that's going to happen. The betting lines say that he will win, Leal, so... I don't know. Oh, the age differences kind of fucking stand out to me. Njokuani's 37. Ay. No, I'm gonna go Chidi and Njokuani to win this. I think he'll get it done pretty easily here. But those were the prelim picks. Let's move on to the main card. Zach Reese versus Michel Pereira. Dude. If you told me this matchup would happen like 18 months ago, like if you showed me this fucking that Michel Pereira would fight Zach Reese, I would have fucking laughed at you, man. I wouldn't have believed you. And now here I am looking at it. And I have to fucking decide if Michel Pereira is so washed that he's gonna lose to Zachary fucking Reese. I don't know, man. I hate looking at this. I hate that this is on the main card, because, like, my main card reputation's at stake here. Oh, am I really gonna pick Zach Reese to beat Michel Pereira in 2026? This guy was just in a fucking main card a fight night main event in 2024. Now he's fighting fucking Zach Reese. I don't rate either of these guys, bro. It's just, how can you... Michel, bro. My fucking mic almost fell over. Michel, how can you go almost 5 rounds with Anthony Hernandez? You fucking go 3 rounds with Abus Magomedov, and then you get fucking slimed out in 43 seconds by Kaldok, because who I actually rate, I think is actually a really good fighter. I don't know what do you want from me, man? What do you want? Are you like? I'm gonna pick Zach Reese, dude. I'm gonna pick Zach Reese at underdog. I just don't have faith in Pereira's cardio. I don't have faith in his striking defense. I don't have faith in his takedown defense. I don't have faith in his chin either after that last fight. And I think he could just easily sell this. I think Michel Pereira in his fucking CTE riddle brain is looking at this fight and thinking, oh, this will be really fucking easy for me, bro. I'm gonna just go out and do what I normally do, right? This should be fucking light work. When in reality, he needs to look at the situation and be like, damn, bro, the UFC paired me up with fucking Zachary Reese, bro. He's coming off a win against Jackson McVeigh. Like, this is what the UFC thinks of me. I need to lock in and do better. But I don't think he's thinking that way. And I think it's going to be a problem for him. So I see him just, you know, doing what he normally does. Just kind of going out there, starting hot in the first round, trying to get the finish quick. I see Zachary's probably surviving that. And then as we get into the second and third round, Pereira's absolutely gassed, as he always is. Reese starts piecing him up. Maybe gets a takedown and controlled. You know, like, it's just... I can just rely on Zach Reese. He's more predictable. He also has a solid, like, fight game in his mind. You know, he goes into these with plans. I don't see Michel Pereira being on that guy, being like on that level of thinking. You know, so I can't back him. I just can't. I'd feel like if I pick him to, this isn't one of those things where it's like, if he does manage to get a first round finish, which I don't think he will, I'm not gonna feel like bad. I'm gonna think, okay, maybe so we found the cliff. You hit the floor, right? You found a way to bounce back. But if I pick Michel Pereira and he loses this, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. God damn it, dude! I don't fucking. Oh, it's so weird, man. I hate that this is on the main card. This is such a tough one, man. I'm still gonna go Zach Reese to win this though. Up next, we have Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. Josiah's coming up on short notice to fight Jacoby Smith here. Both guys 11-0. So very intriguing fight here. two big prospects. Even Josiah Harrell himself, he was supposed to fight in the UFC a couple whiles ago, but then he was diagnosed with I believe it was a brain tumor. I think that's what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he had to step away from the sport for a little while, but now he's back, and now he's coming back into the UFC. So very good story from him. Unfortunately, he has to fight a very dangerous prospect in Jacoby Smith, dude. And I think Jacoby Smith is gonna win this, man. I'm sorry to say, Harrell is a very good grappler, and he has good striking, but he likes to start off slow. And Smith, with his very good grappling game himself, and the power he has behind his punches, and as well as a good ground and pound game, if he's patient, he can drag it out and break you down with his wrestling. So I see this fight kind of being like, both guys start off aggressive. I think Harrell needs to start off aggressive if he wants to stay in this fight. Both guys landing big shots. Smith eventually be able to get the hold and take Harrell down. Trying to go for a submission, trying to find it, but Harrell has good enough grappling to defend from the submission, so Jacoby Smith just starts laying down a ground and pound, throwing elbows, cutting him up. This could go on for... Maybe Harrell can survive a first round, but if we get to a second, I don't know, man. I see Jacoby Smith being able to almost get a finish here, genuinely. He's just that good, man. Smith is just a very good fighter. And that with the short notice that he's coming in on and the size disadvantage that he has, I'm going to back up Jacoby Smith to win this fight. That's a tough one, though, dude. I'm not going to lie. That's tough. Up next, we have Sergey Spivac versus Ante Delija. Yeah, I'm going Delija all the way, dude. Delija is just the far and away better striker. And Spivac, I like this matchmaking because, Delija beats Marcin Tybura, and then he loses to Waldo Cortez Acosta, right? So now he's back in that level where he's fighting guys that, are kind of the gatekeepers of the heavyweight division, where if you are going to beat him, you need to be an athletic heavyweight that can defend takedowns. And I think Spivac is less of that to an extent than Tybura is, so I see Delija being able to, just look at this fight and be like, okay, this is not the exact same, but very similar to the Tybura fight. Just go in there, defend a clinch if I need to, and then just start piecing him up on the face, which, Spivac has never been a good fighter when it comes to that kind of stuff, if Spivac can't get the takedown, he'll just start high guarding, and he'll probably just get blitzed up against the cage, very similar to the Tybura fight. So, for those reasons, I'm going to back Ante Delija to win this. I think, Delija is of that caliber of guys that, athletic heavyweights that can defend takedowns. He is on that level, so simple enough. I'm just going to back him to win this fight. That's the way I see it going. Up next, feature fight on the card. This is awesome. Dan Ige versus Melquizael Costa. Man. I'm gonna have to go Costa. I think I'm gonna have to go Costa to win this fight. Ige, as he does with every fight, he'll make it close, but Costa just has such good kicks. He can keep his range and just jab up. I think he's gonna start off this fight landing good strikes. Ige could just land a surprise takedown out of nowhere, pretty late into the round maybe, but I think a lot of these rounds, the way the round format is Costa piecing up Ige. Ige doesn't really have a lot of striking defense to him, and, he'll continue getting pieced up until Ige can just find a big strike to land or get another takedown that could maybe swing him around. And I think he'd have to do that twice in order to win the fight, and I don't think he's going to be able to. I think he's only going to find it, once, if he's lucky. And then maybe they're just a close enough fight. If there's enough action, he could find a way to win, but via split decision. I do think this probably will be a split decision, but I'm gonna go with Melquizael Costa to win this by decision. I don't think Ige's on that point where as good as Costa is with his kicks and his striking, I don't think Ige's at that point where he's getting finished by these guys yet. So I'm gonna back up Melquizael Costa to win this. It's just fucking simple enough, dude. I think it's not easy. It'll be close. But I do like the betting lines here that Costa is the favorite, so I'm going to go with Melquizael Costa to win this fight. Main event. Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. I like Uros Medic, bro. This guy was a prospect for a minute, and then he lost pretty badly. But then he's kind of found some more momentum, and the UFC has decided, I guess, they kind of like him enough that they're going to give him a co-main event for a ranked spot against Jeff Neal. In a pretty competitive welterweight division, this is a bit of a surprising matchup for me, but On paper, it's a really good fight, man. Both guys are pretty similar in their fighting styles, you know. Um, with that being said, though, I'm gonna go with Jeff Neal to win this fight. I think Neal is just durable enough. He has good takedown defense. He has some good boxing that will mix things up pretty well. While Medic is just a bit more feinting. He likes to utilize more kicks and knees, and I think that's a kind of a problem when you fight Jeff Neal. That is okay. No, it's the formula to beat Jeff Neal, but I think Medic doesn't really have the skills to like do it properly, I would say. I just think Neal will be able to catch him, land some good counter punches, and maybe even get a finish, but via KO, TKO, that kind of thing. I just see a counter punch coming Oros Medic's way that puts him on the ground, you know, and then Neal's able to capitalize on that and then come away with the win here. So I'm gonna go with Jeff Neal to win this. There's not much more to it. I'm excited to see this fight. I think this will be a really good, entertaining one, but I just have to back Jeff Neal to win this. I think that's pretty solid. I think that's a pretty solid one. Finally, our main event. I'll go full fucking picture here. Main event. Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. Look, man. I think Hernandez lost his chance at fighting for the middleweight title when he pulled out of his fight against RDR. Because now he has to fight Sean Strickland, dude. And, you know, Sean Strickland, he's just one of those guys, you know, where... Look at the guys that have beat him at middleweight, you know. It's guys like Alex Pereira, a fucking heavyweight with just sledgehammers for hands, you know. Jared Cannonier got the split decision, just kind of outs Sean Strickland. And plus, that 2022 run was just insane for Jared Cannonier. And then you have DDP, who's just so unorthodox and hard to read and hard to figure out, along with good power that he can also outpoint Sean Strickland. And I just don't see Anthony Hernandez, from what he's shown so far, like, has the ability to kind of... He's not on the same level of those guys. He doesn't have, like, really strengths that the people who beat Sean Strickland do, you know? He doesn't have the strongest hands. He doesn't have the most unorthodox style. He doesn't have the most durable chin, you know? He struggles with, like, kind of, like, you know, cardio guys. Like, we saw that with his fight with Brendan Allen, so... I think that's going to be a big problem for him, and I'm going to have to go with Sean Strickland to win this fight. You know, Strickland, see if I scroll down here a little bit, Strickland has a reach advantage, a short one, but he has a reach advantage. He has the experience advantage of being on a top level compared to Anthony Hernandez. He has good takedown defense, and he has a good enough defensive grappling to get out of the exchanges and the positions that, like, Hernandez would want to put someone in, or, like, anyone would want to put Strickland in. He's just a very hard guy to beat, you know, and I think Hernandez, this is a big jump up in competition. I think, you know, Hernandez will struggle a bit against the striking style of Strickland. I don't think it's a very good matchup for him in that way, where, like I said, if you're not DDP, dude, you're not getting around Strickland's striking defense very well, very easily. And with that struggle comes the struggle of trying to set up for the grappling, which I think, again, will then become a problem for Hernandez. He doesn't have the power necessary to win. He doesn't have the combos to win. And I think as the fight goes on, this will be harder for Hernandez. Strickland will get hit less. Hernandez will struggle to establish a range and set up takedowns, which does favor Strickland. He can get up from a lot of takedowns very easily, defend clinches, and you know, from the start of this fight, you could see a lot of nothing, you know, just a lot of figuring each other out, what they're going for, a lot of feinting, maybe not a lot of footwork from Strickland or Hernandez, just kind of standing there like a lot of strong Strickland fights start, but maybe we see a late round takedown. Hernandez maybe is able to find a way through Strickland's defense to actually land a takedown, or just clinch against the cage at the very, very end of the round, but as the fight goes on, Sean will start to counter more. He'll read his boxing more. Hernandez will get a bit more desperate. Sean will start landing better body kicks, you know, touching the body. That's a big problem when we see Hernandez fight. He's not very durable in the body, so that's a target on Hernandez, you know. And Strickland will just continue to calf kick and jab and cross and throw some counter hooks and evade Hernandez strikes all the way for the entire 25 minutes. I see that going. So for those reasons, I'm going to pick Sean Strickland to win this, man. I I just don't see. I don't see a version of Hernandez would have to up his game to such an extreme extent that that's then yeah, that's how we'd be able to win this. He just have to do something so much better than he's done so far. And it's not to say he's a bad fighter. I just think, you know, the jump up in competition, the kind of style of fighting he's up against is just gonna be hard for him. He's just gonna struggle, dude. So yeah, I mean, let's just see. He's the favorite though. A 260 favorite is fucking insane, bro. People are too heavily rating that Delija. I've seen people talk about that. People are rating that Delija win too heavily. Like, and when you look at his competition, he struggled against Brendan Allen. He beat Michel Pereira, who again is falling off. Roman Kopylov isn't a great win. Edmund Shabazian's a good one. But none of these guys are on Sean Strickland's level. Sean Strickland beats all of these guys. You know, like Paulo Costa, Adesanya, Abus Magomedov, like I can't see Hernandez figuring Sean Strickland out, you know, but I can see Strickland very easily figuring Hernandez out. You know, it is what it is, man. I worry for Anthony Hernandez, but yeah, that's my prediction. I think Strickland wins this. Oh, okay. Whoops, I clicked on that again. So what are my locks for this card, dude? Well, not a lot of them. I'm gonna go with Carly Judice. Carly Judice is a lock. I think she gets it done pretty easily. I think Yadier Duval is a lock. You know, there's just no reason to think otherwise. I feel Rowe could prove Lebosnoyani as not a fraud, but like, you know, levels to this. So I'm not gonna go with him. Soriano could just get another like KO win out of nowhere, so I don't think that's a lock. I think Jocelyn Edwards is a pretty easy lock here. I don't really see a way Cornolle can figure like Edwards out again, or just put on performance like that again. So I'll go with Edwards as a lock. I'm also gonna go with Coria as a lock. You know, I just don't. I haven't seen enough good things out of Gurule's game to like make me think that, you know, he could just find a way to figure out a way to win this, unless Coria is just, you know, not on that level that he normally is. I don't think. Dude, none of these are locks at all, dude. Like, I'm scared. I'm scared. Jacoby Smith. I'm debating this one still. Is he a lock? Is he? You think he is? Listen, if you want to think he's a lock, if you have confidence in him, if I've built him up enough in your mind that he is, then he should be. But I don't know if I could see it. Like, I could see Harrell being really fucking, you know, just like kind of, what's the word, crafty in the grappling game and kind of maybe throw off Smith's game a little bit. I don't know. It's tough. When it's two undefeated guys, man, it's hard to say like one's a lock. You know what I mean? So, if you think Smith is good enough, if in your mind you think if I've convinced you, then go ahead. I don't know. That is buyer's beware right there. Is what that is. So I think Delija is definitely a lock. I think gets it done, no question. You guys got a chance to just kind of get a robbery decision probably, so I won't say Costa's a lock. I will say Jeff Neal's a lock. I don't think Medic really has enough in his game. Like, he could knock him out, but Jeff Neal, who's he been knocked out by? Literally Protest, that's it, in the UFC. Like, he needs a knockout to win, and I don't think he's going to get that, so not him. And then, of course, you know, Hernandez, if he does up his game enough, if he does that, we don't really know, like, the ceiling of Anthony Hernandez. We just seen him fight pretty well against some, not meddling contenders, but, like, compared to Sean Strickland's fights, like, it's not on the same level, so I don't think I put Strickland as a lock. I think Hernandez just could all of a sudden, you know, Hernandez could be that guy. I'll say that. Hernandez just could be him. He could be him. So I won't touch that one as a lock either. I have Neal, Delija, maybe not Jacoby Smith. I have Coria, I have Edwards, I have Yadier Duval, and I have Carly Judice. Those are my locks. Overall, this is like a 5 out of 10 in confidence for these picks, man. I'm not gonna lie. These are scary. This is a scary card, but a very good card, as I said at the start. It's a good one, man. I'm excited to see how some of these guys perform. I think we'll learn a lot about some of these guys. It's just based on the performance they have in this card tonight. A lot will be more set in stone. A lot of narratives will be confirmed or denied on this card, which is very exciting. those are my predictions for this card. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, including my reactions to how this fight card goes down, be sure to leave a subscribe. Yeah, do that. Subscribe to the channel if you want. You can also hype the video. You know about this? I just learned you can hype up the video, you know? Get some, like, if you want me to have more attention, go ahead and fucking click that hype button, dude. Go ahead and do that. Share, do whatever. Leave a comment of your predictions down below. How excited you are, what are your predictions, what I got wrong, how did I fuck you over in your parlays when the card goes down, all that good stuff, you know? But, yeah, man. Yeah. That's gonna do it for me, though, bro. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.